Hi. Hope you all are just doing amazing out there. I'm hopping on live to talk about finding hope. So, hope will free your hips. It's amazing. Like, I started working with it because one of you suggested that you wanted to work on tight hips. And when I began to work on it, I realized that I was kind of feeling hopeless about something. And it was really stuck down in my butt cheeks, which really affect our hips. So this week's practice is all about finding hope to free your hips. So join me in that. And the amazing thing is that once I turned that corner and really realized that I had lost hope around something and that I was really hanging on, because when I feel hopeless about, for me, it was the environment. I live in this beauty, and I was actually feeling hopeless about what was happening with the EPA and da-da-da-da. And I was clenching my butt cheeks because I wanted it to be different than it is. And I was walking around in this beauty just like, clenching tightly. And then it became harder for me to move. My lower back hurt, my hips were tight. And so I give you this practice this week so that you can find hope too around whatever you worry about, whatever you want to be different in your world, so that you can free your hips. Because then once we free our hips, we can start to see that there really is hope. And then we can participate in the things that really are bringing in that energy, and we can change the world that way. Now, I wanted to talk about that before I show you the little movement I wanted to give you. So I love the quote by Gandhi that says, be the change that you want to see in the world. But that's not exactly how the quote goes. I'm going to read you the whole quote. Here it is. We but mirror the world. We mirror the world. All the tendencies present in the outer world are to be found in the world of our body. Whatever's out there is in here. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world change toward him. This is the divine mystery supreme. The divine mystery supreme. A wonderful thing it is and the source of our happiness. We need not wait to see what others do. We need not wait to see what others do. So let's get on our balls and do our movements so that we come back to hope. We can't wait for anybody else to do the right thing. We need to do it first inside of us and then watch the world change around us. I hope that brings you as much joy as it does to me. Okay. So a couple of things about tight hips. There's a muscle that runs through your butt cheek that's called the piriformis. It's under our glute muscles, and it kind of runs in that indent of our butt cheek, or the former indent. And that muscle has to be dealt with to release hip tension, because what happens is this tight piriformis, as it gets tighter and tighter, it pulls your lesser trochanter, that ball socket at the top of your leg, into the hip socket. So as our piriformis over here is pulling, it pushes that bone into the hip bone. And if you get tight enough, you're bone on bone. So our piriformis is a big part of creating tight hips. And if you get bone on bone, if you're a tight ass and you get bone on bone, that's when you have hip replacement. And whoa, hip replacement's on the rise these days. So let's take care of it before we as a group have to go there. So the number one cure for hip tightness is a ball in your ass. You're going to put the ball in your butt every single day. I do not miss a day, But sometimes I get caught up in worrying, and so my worry is still pulling until I realize. And everything is divine. And so sometimes when I struggle and I'm frustrated, like, oh, my hips are still tight, my butt cheek is tight, why won't it release? I just need to remember to be patient because the gift does come. And this gift for me came through one of you who said, I want to work on hips. And then I realized it was because I was feeling hopeless around the environment and unwind the whole thing in my own body. And now I don't have tight hips and I don't feel a pain in my back. Just amazing how the miracles unfold. Okay, so I'm going to place this ball in my right butt cheek. Join me if you are following along, and place your right ankle onto your left knee. Now this is the most intense way to get into that space. So first I'm just rolling all around in my butt cheek, breathing in and breathing out and finding those knots of tension. When I find one, I stay on it and breathe. In through my nose and out through my mouth, I say, ha. And what I'm releasing in this tight piriformis on this right side is me wishing anybody outside of me was different. I need to let them go. Because that's me waiting for them to make the changes that I can make in my own world. So I need to let them go. The big ha. So find a big knot and let's do this together. Deep breath in. And ha. Open that jaw. That's another place where control lands. Ha. Let them go. You might have to do this like over and over again. In fact, if your hips are really tight, I recommend that you really do this week's practice on the Ageless Movement practices every day. And you'll see a huge difference in a week. I mean, what the heck? 1 week and your hips are going to be free? Come on, do it. Now, after I've been here for a moment, I just roll to my side, and you can't really see this, but I'm in that indent of my butt cheek and I'm rolling back and forth. So it's like this. I'm just rolling back and forth with that ball in that indent of my butt cheek. And that's how I get directly into the piriformis. So when I kind of thinking as I roll around on the surface, you know, when I'm here rolling around like, oh, I'm not so tight. When I come into that, indent of my butt cheek, then I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I am tight. All right. So again, breathing in and letting them go. Yeah. All right. So that's them. And some of you have lots of tightness and tension on your right side. But we hold on to wishing we were different on our left side. So you can hop over there whenever you're ready and just start to roll around there. Wow, right? So we tend to specialize either in hanging on to them, wanting them to be different, or ourselves wishing that we were different. So notice what you're specializing in today. Find those knots of tension and breathe in through your nose and ha out and let yourself go. We can't really move forward if we don't accept who we are exactly as we are right now. Doesn't mean that we don't want to work on things. It just means that when we let ourselves go, then we have our guidance system. And if we have our guidance system in place, then we're less likely to do bad things to ourselves, like trash ourselves with bad food or smoke or whatever you do. And then again, roll, straighten that leg and get in that indent. Ooh la la. And let yourself go. Just accept yourself as you are right now. Then, and only then, because that means that's coming from a place of love, you have hope for yourself, can you flow forward into making whatever changes you want to make for yourself. So this is always first step when I work on tight hips. Now I also roll ball in my iliopsoas muscle right beside my hip bone, and I go down into the inguinal crease and into my inner leg. And I always do that laying on my belly. So we'll just take a quick tour of that. You're gonna lie on your belly, place the ball right to the inside of your left hip bone. You can roll towards your pubic bone, pull back to your hip bone, and roll down. And when you get into that inguinal crease, take your knee out a little bit. I'll go back so you can see this. And then you roll into that inner leg. Now, if you're super tight, you may have to use a block to put that ball up on as you get into your inner leg, or to even get into that inner leg. So some of you are tight enough where you have to do that. But when you do this, this releases fear, the iliopsoas, and down in that inner leg, anger. So left side is fear of yourself, anger towards yourself. So as you go right side, following along, please do. And you're rolling here in towards your pubic bone and pulling back. And then moving down slowly, taking that knee out when you get toward that inner leg. And as you work here, this is where you hold fear and anger toward others. So think about this. You have tight hips because you're holding on in control. You're angry, or you're afraid of either you, left side, them, right side, or you're angry toward them, right side, yourself, left side. So to release hips, we let go of fear, anger, and control, and we breathe in hope, right? All right, now I'm going to show you a little movement to do after you've done your ball work. Always, I do ball work first. Okay, so I'm going to just back up a little bit. So the nickname for this pose is butterfly. Baddha Konasana, if you've studied yoga for a long time and know Sanskrit. So I'm just placing my soles of my feet together. Now, if I'm really, really tight and this is hard, I can just place a block under my booty and it'll be a little bit easier. So do whatever you need to do. So the soles of my feet are together here. And then I bring my hands behind me, I lift myself up and just scoot myself forward until my heels are as deep as they can be in toward my pubic bone. Then I'm going to hold on to either my big toe, or I like to hang on to the groups of toes, and I kind of pull them away from one another. Rest my elbows on my knees if I can. Now, if my knees are way up here, it's a little harder to do that. Just do the best you can. Each out breath, you drop. I kind of just press my elbows into my knees and drop my knees to the floor. Then inhale, I release. Exhale, drop. Now what you'll notice is with each out breath, I'm starting to come forward. And then I'm slowly melting my heart toward my feet. Now you may be way up here, you may be back here. It doesn't matter. You just go as deep as you can, and then you hold your edge and breathe. Now you're going to feel this deep in your inner leg. So we released our butt cheeks to do this, and they are getting some pull, but you're also going to feel this really deep inner leg stretch. So your iliopsoas and your gracilis, the fear and anger muscle, are being opened. Now when I'm here, I'm dropping my heart toward the soles of my feet. I'm bringing love, I'm bringing hope, a higher energy vibration down in to my pelvic bowl. I'm breathing in hope. I'm releasing fear, anger, and control. And then, after I've held it for a while, I come out, pull my knees together. Then, you're like a butterfly pose, right? And you can transform from this fear, anger, control, from having tight hips, into feeling hope and allowing yourself to be free. So that's what this week's practice is all about. So do it. I encourage you to do it. Here's the thing. If you don't do these practices, you're not going to be the change that you want to see in the world. You've got to take your whole being to a practice. Remember what Gandhi said is that if that world is like a body out there and we're seeing some tendencies that we don't want to see, we've got to take it inside our world, which is our body, our temple. That's what he said, in our bodies. And we have to move and roll balls and breathe to make the change, to make the shift. All right, let me see who's on board. Hey, Terrell, good to see you. Sandy, awesome. Brenda, yay. Oh, so good. Nancy Turner, yay. Howdy. She's from Texas. Oh, hey, Lynn. I'm so glad you're on board. It was so nice to meet you not too long ago. Brenda Jenkins, yay. And Sandra. All right, Nancy, let's see. Is it better to fold forward, lengthening from the tailbone, or around the back in Baddha Konasana? Oh, good question. So always, 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 like when you're coming forward at all, you don't want to lift up through your lower back. You want your tail to stay long. So I just make sure my tail's down and I'm really just moving my heart forward, not pulling up and out of my lower back or my sacrum, my tail, lifting off the earth in any way. I keep my tail grounded like a root that's planted into the earth. I hope that helps, Nancy. Let's see. Oh, hey, Sarah and Heather Carson. Oh, thank you. And so if you are really tight and you need to do these things on chairs, Heather just reminded me, you can do that too. So let me just move so you can see my couch. My dog was just up there and made a mess of her blanket. Then she went into the other room. The least she could have done is stayed and be cute. You can even do things like just take one leg up at a time, like I'm putting it deep in my inner groin and coming forward. Or you can try to do both and kind of bring your knees kind of a little bit to the outer edge and then hang on back behind you and just rest forward just a little bit, just so you're not falling. Remember, we're rooted, so I'm not pulling forward, so I'm going to fall out. And if you notice, my feet are kind of in this crease, which is really nice too. So you can always do things up on chairs. That'll help a little bit too, so that you're not just boom on a hard, flat surface. But do, like Heather, if you need to, one leg at a time. Just come forward, pressing down on your elbow a little bit. It's all going to help, and it's all going to create change. And we're all in different places, so we have to modify for ourselves. The beautiful thing about just doing what we can in these practices is we get to watch ourselves grow. So wherever we end up, where we are today, we can slowly begin to grow and expand, and we get to watch that. I watch myself growing every day. I'm almost 60 years old, and I get to watch myself grow instead of me losing. Like I hear so many people as they age complaining about their aches and pains and things like that, and I'm like, yeah, I got a little ache and a pain someplace, and I got to watch myself work it out. And you can do that no matter what age you are. So one of my dear yoga masters that I studied with, she didn't even come to yoga until she was in her late 40s. And she watched herself grow. She wrote her book when she was in her 80s. Nobody even really knew about her until she was in her 80s. And she was this amazing woman that had learned so much about her own body and then went out and shared it in her 80s. So we don't stop. We don't ever stop. That's the other thing about this practice, is that this is a lifetime. We need to make it a habit, and then we allow ourselves to grow over a lifetime. And then if something comes in, like my worry about the environment was clenching my butt cheeks and causing my hips and my lower back to be in pain, then we get to work that out. like things will flow in and we will grab back on, and we have habits of grabbing on in different places. So we get to watch where we grab on. And then we also, like Leonard Cohen says, we ache in the places we used to play. So all my injuries come up as I age too. But then I get to make them better because I never got to make my little finger injury better when I was young because nobody took care of it like I was a child. And when I did this, and I had a broken bone, needed help. But now as I age, it's starting to hurt. And so I get to play with it. And I get to massage on either side of that joint and let it come back to life. I get to work on it now. So I look at those places that are achy as I'm getting older, is like the things I never really worked on when I was younger, and I get to work on them now. And it's such a gift. I look at this process as such a gift, and I feel like I'm one of the most fortunate people in the world to know about this and to be able to share it with everybody. And then we have these amazing groups where we get to talk about it. Like I got a message from one of our Ageless Movement practitioners, Wendy Neville. She's like, oh, I've been doing the side seam, and now, it hurts in one of her ribs. I'm like, back off, because we can overdo things too. Just see if that rib will settle down, because she may have irritated that little attachment there. So we get to help each other out. I think this is like the most amazing thing ever. Instead of like running to doctors for every little ache and pain, take your balls, work on yourself. This week, work on your hips. Yeah, I was trying to get to my ball and I got to my block. Work on your hips. Make this your best friend this week. Put it in your butt cheek. Roll on it. Breathe. Let go. All right, Pamela, can you see me? I'm so grateful for the practice. I can't see you, but I'm so happy you are. What if I can't get my leg on my knee in the first move? That's okay. You can even do that laying down. Oh, thanks, Pamela. If you're tight and you can't put, I was up here like this, lay down. I don't care. You can feel it rolling around there. That's perfect. Do what you can. You're not going to do everything that I can do or other people can do, because we're all in different places. And guess what? I've been doing this for 30-some years. And I still struggle with things because I'm alive and I'm human. And you're going to too. And there's no end point. All right. Time to roll on the butt. Yes. Okay. It was so amazing to be with you today. I have so much more hope now. Read my blog. I tell you all about it. I tell all about myself. But I'm so happy to be with you. And let's bring in hope together and share on our Facebook page, because let's learn about this together. All right. Love you. Bye.